There's Sean Payton. What a start he had when he came to the New Orleans Saints. It was a franchise that needed direction. He gave them instant direction his first year. He goes 10-6. They get to the NFC Championship game, but since then they've gone 7-9, 8-8. They seem, Troy, to be poised for kind of a rebound year in the NFC South. They brought up the rear in that division last year. I don't see that here in 2009. And in the 10 years that Andy Reid's been here, Troy, you can make the case, and I think it's a strong one, that the biggest acquisition Andy Reid made since he came to Philadelphia was bringing Jim Johnson with him to coordinate his defense.
It was the first hire he made on his staff once he got named the head coach, and it was certainly the right one.
Akers kicks it away, and Courtney Roby, just added to the roster for the Saints, takes it from the 5 and runs into a wall at the 25, falls forward to the 26. Sean Jones was there to make the stop for the Philadelphia Eagles. And here comes Drew Brees, who last year was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year, went to his second Pro Bowl, was 16 yards shy of a new NFL record for the most passing yards in a single season. There's your question mark, Troy, that offensive line and how they protect him.
I didn't think this offensive line looked very good last week, and yet they were able to go for over 500 yards of offense. This will be a real test today.
Quick setup and throw, and the pass is complete to the tight end David Thomas. A tight end that the Saints picked up from the New England Patriots the first week of September. And here's the defense. So you talk about Jim Johnson and studying under Jim Johnson, Sean McDermott, the 35-year-old defensive coordinator. Pam had a feature on him and the defense prior to this game on Fox NFL Sunday. And they start Macho Harris, a rookie, at free safety. Brees rolls out, hits his tight end Shockey. Good for 7, and so 2 quick throws to the tight ends to start the day for Drew Brees.
And what New Orleans has done here on these first 2 plays is just stay ahead of the chains, and that's going to be real important throughout this entire game. On first down, they pick up a first down, and then on this last first down, they come out on the naked boot, and here they are looking at 2nd and 3. That's going to be key. You can't get into 3rd and long downs against this aggressive defense.
On 2nd and 3 over the middle, it's Shockey again, and that's 3 straight completions to the tight ends, 15 yards and another first down for the Saints. When Shockey's name was introduced to the crowd here, they booed him for all those years and all those games while playing with the Giants.
And here's what Drew Brees is able to do. You're going to see he looks the defenders to the flat, and that's what opens up this big hole in behind it. I don't know that there's anybody better in the league right now at moving defenders as what Drew Brees is.
First run of the game, and it's Bell, who had a big day last week against Detroit, picks up 4. And Mike Bell, who was first introduced in the NFL with the Denver Broncos, had 143 yards rushing last week on a career high 28 carries. Did have 1 fumble, but really took over that running back position while he plays for the injured Pierre Thomas.
Yeah, you know, Mike Bell came into the league a few years back with Denver as an undrafted free agent, had a nice year, a few starts, and really hadn't heard from him since then until last week.
Handoff is to Reggie Bush. Bush takes it to the 35, picked up 2, and a relatively short 3rd down coming up for New Orleans.
Yeah, and we'll see what Sean McDermott decides to do here. This is the first 3rd down of this series. This is generally when the Eagles like to bring pressure. But because it's a manageable 3rd and 4, you've got to be careful. If you bring that, then you're going to be manning up against Reggie Bush and some of these talented wide receivers.
The Saints are not in field goal range for John Carney. They may be now as a first down to the 30, and another catch for Shockey, his 3rd. That's good for 5 yards. And it's been everything underneath, over the middle, and Drew Brees can make it look awfully easy.
Got a little pressure there off the edge, but Drew Brees was able to move enough, and that was a pretty easy conversion. You know, this team's as good as anybody in converting 3rd downs. Jeremy Shockey goes down the field, hooks up, and he puts it right on him.
They do an end around, to Meacham. And he is out of bounds near the 15-yard line. Robert Meacham on the carry, Quentin Michael on the stop, and this has been a methodical drive down the field off the opening kickoff for the Saints, who lit up Detroit last week, and they're trying to do it against a much better defense here in Philadelphia.
This drive right here for New Orleans is a little reminiscent of what Carolina did last week. You know, they were able to go down, and really that was the only possession that they did anything with. The Saints take the opening kickoff, and they've been pretty methodical here on this drive.
Empty backfield behind Drew Brees, not anymore, and they fake a toss to Bush. Shoot for the end zone, and wide open is Colston. Touchdown New Orleans, but a flag is down at the 7. And it's against Philadelphia. That'll stand.
Holding, number 58. Defense. A penalty is refused. A result of the play is a touchdown.
Well, you see Reggie Bush, he goes in motion across the formation as a decoy play action, and then they kind of went to sleep on the backside. You got Asante Samuel who hangs underneath flat, and Marcus Colston just runs a corner route. Asante Samuel could have been underneath that, and then he also was expecting safety help, and neither guy went with Colston.
What a start for the Saints. And New Orleans picks up right where they left off against Detroit. Well, a defensive huddle for the Philadelphia Eagles with good reason. They were just taken apart by Drew Brees in this offense. A lot to the tight ends, a touchdown to Marcus Colston, gets his second of the season. Had the Saints first last week. Ellis Hobbs waits for the kickoff from Thomas Morstead, who's got a big leg. From a yard deep. Ellis Hobbs, a former New England Patriot, with a decent return. Penalty flag comes flying from the near side of the field as Hobbs got it out to the 24-yard line. So we will check the flag. We've already heard from Alberto Riveron, who's the referee.
Holding, number 28. On the return during the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So now Kevin Cobb. Kevin Cobb making his first NFL start. And I think, Troy, when you start looking at the numbers don't overwhelm you, but it's always been in relief, and it's never been his week. And now he seems relieved almost that he gets to play with this offense all week long.
Well, that should help, and he's a pretty cool customer, but I can assure you that he's got a knot in his stomach, and he's pretty wired right now.
They start with an empty backfield, and Cobb comes underneath and hits the rookie Maclin. First NFL catch for Jeremy Maclin, and that's good for 6 yards.
I tell you what, that's probably the best feeling that Kevin Cobb's had in quite some time, to come out here on the first play. And really, Andy Reid, now the Eagles script the first 15 to 20 plays going into a game. The fact that he knew last night when he went to bed he was going to have a pass play on the first possession, the first snap, for him to complete that, I think that's big.
Handoff is to Westbrook, running left. Turned nothing into something, a gain of 2. Scott Shanley there for the Saints, and we look at this defense. Kendrick Clancy is not active up front. Remy Adele makes the start. And then you go to the linebackers, and the big changes, Troy, in this defense, not just the coordinator Greg Williams you talked about, but in the secondary.
Yeah, and really the only changes along this defense are in the secondary, with Darren Sharper coming off a 2-interception game last week, and Jabari Greer. And then on the other corner, they've got a healthy Tracy Porter.
Wildcat formation. Cobb at the top of the screen. Deshaun Jackson in at quarterback. And they snap it directly to Deshaun Jackson, who gets a first down. Got around Jabari Greer, picked up 6, and once he broke that tackle, it was a first down, Philadelphia.
I tell you, I've gotten a chance now to see Deshaun Jackson in the Wildcat. We saw him last week on the wide receiver reverse, and he's one of those rare athletes at this level that when he gets the ball in his hands, he just looks faster than everybody else. I mean, he is a dynamic player, and anytime that they can get the ball in his hands in space, that's what they want. Now, what he does not give them that a guy like Michael Vick does when he comes back is the ability to throw the football.
Cobb with a good pocket, goes down the middle of the field, and he's got DeSean Jackson. How about this start in Philadelphia? Touchdown Eagles. No flags.
Good does he feel?
First touchdown of his NFL career and his first start of his NFL career, and it's 7-7. Well, Kevin Kolb now gets to stand and catch his breath over on the sideline. His first 46 career passes in the NFL, covered 167 yards. The last one 71 yards. To DeSean Jackson, and taking a knee is Courtney Roby.
You go back and take a look. They're going to bring slot blitz, and Winston Justice does a great job of picking that up. That's what gives Kolb some time to step up in the pocket. Now, Darren Sharper thought he was going to get some help from Roman Harper on the backside. Roman Harper bit on the tight end route to the other side of the field, and that's what opened up the lane and why DeSean Jackson was as open as what he was.
A satisfied Kevin Kolb now watches the Philadelphia defense try and figure out Drew Brees. And Brees is smacked by Cole.
One of the things that Sean Payton said coming into this game, we cannot let Trent Cole dominate the line of scrimmage. Not bad protection really on the backside of that. Drew Brees trying to escape out the backside and plays right into the hands of Trent Cole. This is unusual to see from Drew Brees. Typically when he gets pressure, he slides out and away or unloads the ball.
Brees comes to the middle of the field for Shockey, incomplete. Last week, this Eagles defense, Troy, as you mentioned, gave up a touchdown to Carolina on the first possession of the game by the Panthers, but then just shut down the offense. Carolina had only 99 yards the entire rest of the game. And Philly came out of that game with 7 takeaways. It's 3rd and 19. Brees underneath. Pass is complete. That's Colston, and he is shoved out of bounds with a 15-yard gain short of a first down.
Really nice defensive series that time by Philadelphia. You're right, Joe. It's almost as if they've got to get through that first possession before they really come alive. And, you know, they were able to here on this second defensive performance. And we're able to get some pressure on Drew Brees. And he's a guy who is not sacked very often, only 13 times all of last year.
DeSean Jackson waits for this punt from Morstead and calls for a fair catch. We're still here, evidently a flag on the field. I'm still looking for it. Riveron is talking to one of the other officials, and here's the call.
Personal foul, number 91, unnecessary roughness, the receiving team. The penalty will be enforced half the distance from the end of the kick. Timeout. So
it came in late. It's Chris Clemens. You can't meet with Kevin Kolb and come out of the meeting not thinking that he's going to be successful. He was not intimidated by this start at all. A confident Texan. So there I am sitting in the quarterbacks meeting, and I see Jeff Garcia, Donovan McNabb, and Michael Vick. 12 Pro Bowls amongst the other 3, and I'm getting the start. And what a start it was. 7-7 as he hands to Westbrook over the right side. Good start for the second drive, a gain of 6, and we go back to Reggie Bush on that previous series and check out what happened to his right shoulder.
Yeah, you're going to see him here in pass protection, and he's going to make a pretty good block there on Jaquay Parker, but when he came down, he landed on that shoulder, and we've just noticed when he came off the field, he's tending to it a little bit. Now, what the extent of the injury is, it's hard to tell, but it's obvious that something's not quite right.
Second down and 4, Wildcat formation. And a handoff to Westbrook, who gets it on the handoff from Jackson. And a first down at the 25.
And then here today, you add the 5 that Drew Brees and Mark Brunell have, and then you're up to 17.
And a false start.
False start. Number 10, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I liked when Cobb sat down and he kind of exhaled and he was talking to you quarterback to quarterback, and he was basically saying, I don't want to over prepare. Everybody's been loading me up now, and it was on Friday. He said, now I just want to write on my index cards what I need to remember and kind of get away from it and clear my mind, which seems to have worked here early. Handoff to Westbrook, who hesitates and picks up 4.
You go back to that last possession on the touchdown pass by Kevin Cobb, and the one thing that Greg Williams said last night was that, hey, we can't give up the big play. I mean, when you look back at the Saints and the area that they've got to do a better job defensively, it's not giving up the big plays. They gave up a big one last week to Calvin Johnson. It was somewhat irrelevant because of the way that game went, but they gave up another big one here in this first half.
Cobb throws, and in and out of the arms of Kevin Curtis, who's playing with a sore knee. Porter made the play, and it's third down now, 3rd and 11 for this Philadelphia offense.
You know, when you go back to Kevin Cobb and kind of what's happened to him, I know that the organization is very high on him. I know Jeff Lurie, in talking with him the other day, he said there's not a guy in our locker room that's more respected than Kevin Cobb. And that's a pretty high statement right there. But he came in off the bench at Baltimore. That's a difficult defense to come in off the bench and play well against. So having the entire week to prepare, no question, it should be a better outing.
Cobb has to scramble, and now wisely throws it away, looking in the direction of Brent Selleck, who's probably his closest friend on the team. First time he's thrown in his direction, and a good piece of work by the Saints defense this time to force a punt.
You know, the Saints defensively, I know that, you know, they feel that they're going to be better, but if you look at their personnel, I mean, they just really haven't made a whole lot of changes. I mean, it's going to be Greg Williams is really the reason why this defense is going to be better, if in fact it is better when it's all said and done.
Penalty flag on the punt. Sam Rocca hits a good one. Reggie Bush with some room to run. Again, a flag is down, and Bush is out of bounds near the 30. 57-yard punt, but we'll check. It's an illegal shift against the Eagles. So we'll see what the Saints want to do with it. Re-kick or tack on 5 yards at the end. Might want to think about re-kicking and putting the ball in the hands of Bush again.
Illegal shift. Number 21, number 27, kicking team. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. 4th down.
Saints have their option of either tacking on 5 yards at the end of that run back or making the Eagles kick again, which they'll do. Eagles have 4 penalties so far in this game. 3 have come on special teams. Reggie Bush has 4 career punt returns for touchdowns. Mishandled 2 last week, dropped 1, muffed a punt, then fumbled 1. And now a late substitution for the Eagles for this repunt. And not as good a punt. We'll see where they mark it. 3rd possession for the Saints. Good starting field position. And There's your quarterback comparison in the first quarter with just over 5 left. Breeze underneath, passes dropped. Handoff is to Bell. Plenty of room to run, and Mike Bell is down to the 31. 23-yard run for Mike Bell, who in 2 weeks is trying to make a name for himself at running back for the Saints.
Well, they go to a single high safety, and that single safety is Macho Harris, 35, the rookie. And you can see when Bell gets through the line, he's the only guy there to then make the tackle. Because he was so deep, it was a pretty significant gain.
Hurry up offense now for the Saints, who didn't huddle prior to that last play. A carry of 2 yards by Bell. Game break coming up as we're at 4.5 minutes left in this first quarter in Philadelphia.
A lot of substitutions that are taking place from the New Orleans Saints, and Sean Payton trying to create some matchup problems, shuttling in 2 and 3 guys at a time.
2nd and 8. Breeze with plenty of time underneath the Bell, and Bell is down to the 19-yard line. Second time inside the red zone here in Philadelphia for the Saints. Underneath again, it's Reggie Bush. Turns on the Jets, and he is down just outside the 10. Brown and Gokong made the stop for Philadelphia, and this is another effective drive being put together by Drew Brees.
And they're going to a no huddle again, and that's what Drew Brees and Sean Payton do such a great job of, is really changing up the tempo of the game.
Now they hand to Bush. He tries to get to the edge. He has enough for a first down. Got around to Asante Samuel, picked up 3. And it brings up 1st and goal.
I mean, really doing a good job from the sideline. Sean Payton, I mentioned it a moment ago, in terms of changing up the personnel and making Sean McDermott try to match that as quickly as possible. A chance there to make a tackle on Bush in the backfield, keep him from picking up the first down. Good job getting to the outside. Now they bring in the extra backup lineman, Zach Strief, to help in protection.
Where's number 64 on the end of the line, and not enough protection there as Bell carries it. And Quentin Michael, who is the starting strong safety, there to make the stop, a loss of 1.
Yeah, 64 they bring in, the Saints do, from time to time, not always running the football when he comes into the game. A lot of times they do it, especially against a defense like the Philadelphia Eagles. Give them an extra blocker, someone who's much more stout than what you would get from a conventional tight end.
2nd and goal, fake toss, and Bush wasn't ready for it. Coming up the middle was Broderick Bunkley, and he was in the face of Drew Brees, made Drew throw it before he wanted to.
Well, this defensive front for Philadelphia, they really do a good job of rotating their guys. I mean, last week, if you were active, you were playing. And not just along that defensive line, but the entire defense. Right now, here comes some more, and they're able to keep them fresh. Great confidence in every guy who suits up to play on Sunday.
Third down and goal. The pass is caught, and a good play by Sheldon Brown saved a touchdown. Marcus Colston made the grab, and Sheldon Brown was the only one there for Philadelphia. He brought him down.
Yeah, you called it, Joe. I mean, here you got Sheldon Brown against a big receiver in Marcus Colston, and all he's got to do is get him to the ground. That's sometimes easier said than done when he's in the open field, but a good tackle by Sheldon Brown, and that's something that he has always excelled at.
The interesting part of that play was there were so many defensive substitutions. Asante Samuel was on the near side trying to call timeout prior to the snap. Didn't believe that Philadelphia was ready for that snap. They evidently were, or at least Sheldon Brown was, because that play that Sheldon Brown made out in space saved the touchdown. And so now it's a 10-7 game. New Orleans on top, and you know, you come into a game between the Saints and the Eagles, you expect to see a lot of offense when everybody's healthy. And even with Kevin Cobb, we've seen a little back and forth already.
Yeah, we've probably seen a little more offense here early than what maybe I anticipated. One, because of Kevin Cobb making his first start, and then the other thing, about the Saints. Obviously a very explosive offensive group, but this defensive team for Philadelphia, excellent. I thought that last possession was good by Philadelphia in terms of holding them out of the end zone and just giving up the 3 points.
So now the Saints are 1 for 2 inside the red zone in this game, trying to pound it in for a touchdown, and we'll see how Kevin Kolb responds. There's Drew Brees, and if you don't know it, I touched on part of it. The 5,069 yards last year, 16 yards shy of a new NFL record. Passing yards in a season. Had 10 300-yard games, 34 touchdown passes, a Saints record, a quarterback rating of 96.2, and that quarterback rating on third down was 117.8. He has really settled in, and I think on some level surprised himself as to how much he enjoys the city of New Orleans. He and his wife want to stay there, raise a family there, and it's been a good fit. Ellis Hobbs will watch it go out of bounds, and so a mistake by Thomas Morstead, the rookie out of SMU.
Out of bounds. The ball we placed yard line, first down.
Here is a snap to Westbrook, and Brian Westbrook picks up 6, and there's a lot of shifting. Seen a lot of the Wildcat already. We're only in the opening quarter, and now Kolb is back in that huddle and should line up under center.
And I think there's a lot more in that whole repertoire that they have of the Wildcat and the variations that are going to come off of that. We're certainly going to see more when Michael Vick comes back, but I know in visiting with Andy Reid, he had a little time this summer when he was vacationing out in California. Here it is again, and he had time to draw a few things up.
They hand it off. Now flip it to Kolb, who's going to air it out if he has time. Throws off his back foot in the direction of Jeremy Maclin, incomplete. And the pressure by the Saints blew up that play.
But you know what? That was actually a good play by Kevin Kolb, because the problem that he has had when he's gotten in these games is he's not been willing to just throw it away. He's held on to the ball, and as a result, he's had it knocked out of his hands, or he's tried to do too much, and there's been an interception. And that has been told to him all week long. If you don't have it, throw it away. And so even though that didn't look very pretty, I know those coaches are pretty happy with the decision.
Third down. Kolb has all day and throws a rocket off the hands of Jackson, incomplete. It's fourth down.
Oh, good series by New Orleans there defensively. You know, Greg Williams talked about it, said, hey, this isn't your conventional West Coast offense. They like to block people up. They're going to take their shots. We've seen that. They present a lot of problems, especially when they start getting into some of those Wildcat formations that everybody's still trying to figure out. But a good job of getting off the field.
Sam Rocca. It's a good one this time. Over the head of Reggie Bush and into the end zone. So a touchback, and the Saints, who lead by 3, will have it at their own 20. Since 2006, the quarterback of the Saints, Drew Brees, leads the NFL in pass yardage, attempts, completions, 300-yard games, touchdown passes, passing first downs, and then the big plays, completions of 25 or more yards.
And where they've got to get better as an offense is they've got to get more out of their running game, and they're never going to rank real high running the football, because they're not going to run it enough. But where they've got to be better is when they do run it, they've got to be more effective. They're not even that effective the few times they do run the ball.
Pretty good today. 7 carries, 48 yards, and they go to the ground here with Bell, who picks up 4. Last year, the Saints were 28th in the NFL in rushing, averaging under 100 rush yards per game.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're hoping they get from a guy like Mike Bell. You know, they run the reverse, they're able to pick up some yards that way, and that's something that is always a staple within this offense in Sean Payton. But if they can get a guy who they believe, because as much as they throw it, as much as they spread people out, there should be some running lanes for a running back to be able to put up some decent numbers.
Quick throw, and the pass is complete to Colston. And Marcus Colston has enough for a first down, picked up 8. Quick catch and run.
And that's kind of their running game there in a lot of ways. They get the quick passing game and they treat that as an extended handoff.
There's Jeff Garcia, who is back in the Philadelphia Eagles organization, asked for his release from the Oakland Raiders heading into the season. A guy who in 06 was 5-1 as a starter, replacing Donovan McNabb. Now talking to Donovan's latest replacement, Kevin Cobb. First down for the Saints. Brees with all day, and there's no pressure on Drew Brees. Henderson makes the catch. Gave up first down yardage, then went back around and picked up 16 total. And a good start to the second quarter for New Orleans.
And if you give Drew Brees this kind of time, then you're able to run some of these routes like you're going to see on the outside with Devery Henderson. He looks like he's going to start to the corner, and then he hooks it up right there. So now you've got a defender who's trying to guard against the corner route, and with that kind of speed and quickness like Devery Henderson has, it's almost impossible to stop. I mean, the Eagles outside of that sack really have not gotten any pressure on Drew Brees.
And that'll be a false start against Jari Evans.
False start. Number 73. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The old 10-time Pro Bowler can still do it. What a weapon in the red zone for Matt Ryan. First and 15. That was the first Saints penalty, and Reggie Bush trying to make something happen, and he cannot, as Joselio Hansen makes the play, a loss of 4.
Little lighter moment earlier with Jeremy Shockey and Sean Payton, and you know, Jeremy Shockey I think right now is at a good place, and he really has had some good years going back to New York and then with the Saints under Sean Payton. I mean, Sean Payton knows what he does best. He puts him in those situations, but more than anything right now this year, Shockey is healthy for the first time in a long time.
Second and 19, a little pump, and now over the middle it's Colston. Hakeem Jordan on the tackle. Colston gets 7. Third down coming up.
Well, and here's the third down that we talked about, and you know, I've got to believe that Sean McDermott is going to come after him. You know, one of the things that we always tried to do back when I was playing, similar style of defense, the Philadelphia Eagles always have been that aggressive, is just try to stay out of third downs altogether. And I know that was something that the Saints were hoping to be able to do as well. And they've gotten into some short yardage situations, but now here they are, third and long.
Brees steps up, fires, hits Henderson, first down, and Devery Henderson, who has made a career of long catches in the NFL. He led the league with just under 25 yards per catch, gets 17 and a first down.
Yeah, and uncontested. I mean, you can tell the respect that Asante Samuel has for Devery Henderson, and it's because the Saints are willing to throw the ball down the field. We talked a little bit earlier about their big play ability. Those defensive backs know that. They're worried about him running by. It opens up the intermediate routes.
Henderson with 2 catches, 33 yards on this drive. Quentin Michael makes the stop on Reggie Bush. Good run of 7 yards.
You know, I'll be honest with you, Joe, coming into this game and seeing what the Eagles were able to do last week against Carolina and the pressure that they got on Jake Delhomme, I really thought that front was going to do a much better job than what we've seen here in the first half of getting pressure on Drew Brees. We've not seen that. This offensive line really has done a good job overall.
Seagulls defense has already given up more yards in this game than they did all last week at Carolina. Here's Bell. 2 yards short of a first down. Mike Bell burst on the scene back in 2006 with the Denver Broncos. 677 yards, 8 touchdowns, was undrafted as a rookie. Then the Broncos signed Travis Henry, tried to turn Mike Anderson into a fullback, and his career fizzled the last couple of years until right now. It's 3rd and 2. Breeze rolls, the pass is batted up and intercepted. What a play by Akeem Jordan. Did it all himself. 10-7 and the turnover. Akeem Jordan made the play all himself. No picks in his first 25 career games. Now he has his second in as many weeks. Wildcat formation yet again. And a straight snap to Deshaun Jackson, who has a blocker out in front of him. And Jackson picks up 4.
You go back to the interception. David Thomas right here, the tight end. He's the one who's going to be running the crossing route. First, Drew looks out in front of him, sees nothing, tries to come back to him, and it was going to be a tight fit anyway because of Omar Gaither in coverage, but trying to get it over Akeem Jordan was not able to do that. But really a superior play there by Akeem Jordan. Pretty athletic move, being able to intercept that ball.
Fake the handoff on 2nd and 6, and Cobb throws underneath to Selleck, who stays in bounds and has lurched enough for a first down. Good work by Selleck along the sideline.
Yeah, it was, because at one point it looked like Cobb was just going to throw it out of bounds, but Selleck kept himself alive and Cobb kept his eyes down the field, and they wind up making a play. You mentioned it. These two guys are best friends. They're roommates on the road. They're roommates the night before games. Last night they had a chance to visit about today's game, and Brent said he did everything he could to try to calm old Kevin Cobb down.
Another straight snap, and it's Westbrook right up the gut of this Saints defense. More Wildcat and 16 yards on a carry by Brian Westbrook.
A pretty heavy dose of the Wildcat right here in this first half, and given a lot of different looks off of it as well. Boy, the middle just opened right up. You see Westbrook, he makes the fake, and then he's able to make enough moves, and look at the lane right there that he had to run in.
6 times the Eagles have been in a quote-unquote Wildcat formation. How about an inside pitch? That's Westbrook with Max Gene Gillis in front of him, and a gain of 8. I kind of think Andy Reid's doing this just to humor you up here in the booth. All your questions about the Wildcat when we sat down with him on Friday.
I did get a little in depth about the Wildcat, didn't I?
Well, you're seeing everything they've got here, and as you said earlier, and I agree with you, come next week when Michael Vick is active, we'll see that entire package, I would imagine, opened up as the weeks go on.
Yeah, and the other day when I was asking all those questions, Andy did a pretty good job of maintaining his poker face. You never would have known they were going to run this much of it.
Look at this formation. I'm going to have you dissect what we just saw as Deshaun Jackson lunges for a first down. How about that spread out formation by the Eagles?
Well, you want a spread offense? I'll give you a spread offense. Andy Reid says, you see here, there's 3 and 3, but the big guys on the outside are actually offensive linemen, and so now you've got 3 blockers in the middle. I think Andy had way too much time on his hands this summer.
They look at Deshaun Jackson along the sideline, who had to reach to get the first down. He looks like he's all right, but he's been busy. Has a touchdown, 71-yarder from Cobb. Pressure on Cobb over the middle, hangs in, finds the rookie who loses the football to a teammate. They're going to mark LeSean McCoy down at the 30, even though Macklin came out of there with a football on the fumble.
Well, this is what you don't want to have as a quarterback. Pressure right up the middle in your face, but it's what Kevin Cobb is faced with. But he has some presence there, hangs in the pocket, knows he's got to get the ball out quick, and the quicker throw is underneath. Now, did the ball come out? Hard to tell on that angle.
It looked like it might have, and the Eagles, in the end, have a bad call go against him because Macklin was there to pick it up. And now penalty flags fly and a false start.
False start. Number 59, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
You're trying to get the ball snapped because of the risk of maybe a challenge coming from Sean Payton, but You know, that is something going back to last week that was somewhat of an issue, was the cadence and then the false starts. Here's another look at it. It looked to me like the ball came out prior to McCoy going to the ground.
Yeah, but any challenge, I mean, theoretically, although they're not, would have come from Philadelphia because Macklin was there to pick it up and run with it. 2nd and 9. They fake an end around and throw it underneath to Westbrook, who tries to hang on to the football, and it's 3rd down as Westbrook gets 2. So we have seen the playbook. I think they're on page 93 of the Philadelphia Eagles offensive playbook. They've gone deep into that thing here in the first half.
Well, and you know, I mean, you just don't show up on Sunday and run these plays, and so, you know, I'm certain that a number of these types of Wildcat sets that we've seen weren't just put in this week, but they were put in throughout training camp.
Right on the edge of field goal range for Akers. Underneath, it's Selleck. 1st down. He does not go down. And with Shanley on his back, carried him for a 1st down.
Good route there by Brent Selleck. He leans up on Shanley and then comes out of it, and you can tell that there's a real comfort level with Cobb and Selleck because the ball came out on time just as Selleck was coming out of his break.
Who'd you room with, Novacek, over the years?
I had my own room.
Oh, well,
I know that doesn't surprise you.
imagine that. Here's Westbrook. And back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. It's been a good first half, and right now the Eagles are inside field goal range for Akers as they trail by 3 with just over 5 minutes to play. Cedric Ellis made that last stop. Remy Adele checks out. 2nd and 10 as we await the 10th play of this drive. Pass complete. That's the rookie Macklin. Wasn't even thrown to last week, gets 6.
Yeah, well, it's pretty obvious to me that the fact that Kevin Cobb got to work with the #1 offense all week, knew he was going to be the starter, that it's paid off. And Andy Reid has said it. He has said it all week long. Kevin Cobb has said it as well, that he thought he would play much better given the time to practice, and that's what we've seen. Early on, he got the early completions, and now he has settled in, and now it's just playing football the way he's always known how.
3rd down and 4. Pressure over the middle. Pass complete for a 1st down at the 10 to Avant. Boy, Cobb is tough. He stands in there and is willing to take a hit for the completion.
And a smart player. I mean, they got Randall Gay, number 20, coming on a slot blitz on the backside, right in the face of Kevin Cobb, and he sees it, and he's got to get it out. And to be able to throw it with that kind of urgency and with pinpoint accuracy, it's good stuff.
Cobb is now hit on passes to 6 different receivers. And here is Deshaun Jackson in the Wildcat. Cobb at the bottom of the screen. And a timeout by Philly. Westbrook now on the sideline, just limped off a moment ago. Ball's right at the 10. 1st and goal. A blitz. Cobb can't get away this time. Right up the middle. Harper came through and got the sack. A loss of 6. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, that time they were finally able to get to Kevin Cobb. Not much he could do with that.
And now a timeout is taken by New Orleans. Add these numbers to those numbers under pressure. Brought back 14 times, sacked once moments ago, knocked down 3 times. 9 of 13, 120 yards and a touchdown for Cobb in his starting debut. Fake the handoff and throw. There's Selleck again. Fighting his way just shy of the 5. If you're going to bring Brent Selleck down, you better bring some help with you, and it's 3rd and goal as they march Selleck out right at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he's been hard to get on the ground here in this first half. You see he's fighting, and you always worry about then going and knocking the ball out, because once a defender gets someone stood up, that's where the others come in, and that's what they try to do. Good job by Brent Selleck of protecting the ball.
Cobb is 8 for 8 on this drive. This is the 14th play of this drive. Cobb waits, has it batted in the air, and it drops incomplete. Anthony Hargrove had a couple of shots at it and could not pull in the interception.
Well, that was a dangerous throw there. When you throw that kind of ball like that down around the red zone, when you've got that many bodies, and when it gets tipped up in the air, he's very fortunate that that one's not intercepted. It's rare that a ball goes up like that and is incomplete.
Max Gene Gillis shoved Anthony Hargrove and basically helped Cobb avoid the interception by putting his hands into the chest of Hargrove. 23-yard attempt by Akers, and we're tied. And Akers goes down, and they throw a flag. Akers went down. Tracy Porter came through. And we'll see what the variety is. If it's running into the kicker, then it would not be a first down, as opposed to roughing the kicker. Field goal was good. The Eagles would just keep it, refuse the penalty, and keep the points. And it appears that's the case. Riverone trying to make sure that the field goal was good before he announces. If it's roughing the kicker, it would be a personal foul on a 1st and goal. If it's running into the kicker, then it would not be a first down, and the Eagles would just refuse the penalty and take the points. Take a look. It's Porter off the top.
Running into the kicker. The penalty is declined. The field goal is good. Timeout.
The only incompletion almost was an interception for Cobb, who was 8 of 9 on that drive. He covered 8 minutes 20 seconds, 68 yards. Capped on the Akers field goal. It's a 10-10 game. On the return, it's Roby. Courtney Roby on the return and out to the 30. And that kickoff at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. And with 2 timeouts remaining, 2.5 minutes on the clock, plenty of time for Drew Brees to do something about this tie. Over the middle, pass was behind Shockey, incomplete. Gaither was coming on a blitz. The Saints picked it up, and Shockey had the pass a little behind him.
And you go back to that last drive by Philadelphia offensively, a really nice drive, 15-play drive, as you said. But more importantly, to be able to take that kind of time, over 8 minutes off the clock, and keep this Saints offense on the sideline, very good. Now, clearly they're not real happy about the fact they had to settle for the 3 points.
Brees is in trouble. Out comes the football. This is a fumble. Back at the 15-yard line, recovered by New Orleans. And it's 3rd down. And the clock will wind to the 2-minute warning. And now Andy Reid's going to call a timeout. Looks like a good call of a fumble, and they mark it back at the 16-yard line.
Well, an excellent call by the official. That clearly was a fumble. The ball's back, open hand, coming forward means it's a fumble. And Drew, that's a couple times now. Both times that he's been hit like this, it's been because he's trying to buy more time to force a deep throw. And he just has run out of time in trying to do so.
Jeremy Shockey ended up recovering the fumble. Then Andy Reid used the Eagles' 2nd timeout.
Yeah, and a smart timeout there by Andy Reid, knowing that then he can be afforded the stoppage of the clock at the 2-minute warning, and with this being 3rd down.
Spread out formation. Breeze over the middle. Passes right into the chest of Shockey, who's flipped and brought down short of a first down. Good play by the rookie Macho Harris. Drew Brees frustrated over on the sideline. Just had a 22-yard completion, 2 yards short of a first down. So Morstead will punt. Deshaun Jackson waits for it. And fielding it inside his own 5-yard line. And a penalty flag on a block in the back. This will be against Philadelphia. And instead of letting it head into the end zone, Philadelphia is going to be tight down by their own end zone after this penalty.
There's flags all over the place out there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I know the first one, I think it was on Chris Clemens, should not have happened. I mean, that was just a dumb mistake on his part. And then there were several others, so take your pick.
That'll be the 4th straight special teams penalty against Philadelphia. But you get the feeling with the number of flags that are out there that there's more than one foul.
That's what I think.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah. Just here to support you, pal.
That's what I think.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal block in the back. During a return by the receiving team, number 91. A penalty is declined. Illegal block in the back. Number 43, also on the receiving team, half the distance of the goal, first down.
That's Leonard Weaver. Clemens, you're right, Troy, was the other one, and the penalty happened so deep in Philadelphia territory. They're going to mark the ball just outside the 3. And it started with Deshaun Jackson fielding a punt inside the 5, which is usually a no-no.
Well, Kevin Cobb's real appreciative of that. Now we'll see what Andy wants to do. He called a timeout thinking he was going to get good field position. They gave up the big pass there to Shockey, which allowed them to back him up here.
And a handoff is to Westbrook, who takes it to the 6. And now New Orleans will turn the tables on Philadelphia, and they'll take a timeout.
And that's what you can't do. But the rest of it, I think he's been very, very good. I mean, he's had a heck of a first half, as you can see, 131 yards, and has made some really good decisions under duress.
Inside handoff to Westbrook.
Okay, fellas, okay.
Takes it out to the 9, a gain of 2. Shanley on the stop. In a trade with Dallas, of all teams, Dallas takes Anthony Spencer back in 07, and the Eagles got the 36th pick overall. That went to Cobb, a 3rd and a 5th. Cobb getting his first start, and he's making, I think, not only sure his front office proud with the way he's playing here in his first start, but I'm sure he's going to get a lot of attention by other organizations around the league after this effort against the Saints.
Yeah, and I think here I would expect them to move the pocket with him a little bit right now.
He throws behind Deshaun Jackson. He had the receiver open, missed him, and it's 4th down.
We had a lot of time there too, and if they were able to get the completion to Deshaun Jackson and put the ball out in front of him, then Deshaun had room to run. He picks up the first down, and then I'm guessing that Andy would have then been aggressive in the play calling to see if maybe they could come away with some points.
As it is, the incompletion. Remember, New Orleans is without a timeout, so had they opted to run the ball, the clock would be running right now. Instead, it's stopped, and Drew Brees will get a chance to move the Saints down the field.
Well, a minute and a half is a lifetime to Drew Brees.
Reggie Bush on the return from inside the 45. Not much, and gets bent backward. Out to the 46, just a 4-yard return after a 50-yard punt by Sav Rocket.
You know, even New Orleans, when you look at what they've done here in this first half, I mean, they're approaching 200 yards of offense against an excellent defensive team. You know, I know that it's you always kind of wonder what you got when you go into week 2, because it's hard to base a lot on one game after week 1, but I think it's fair to say that everyone regards this Philly defense very highly, and yet the Saints have moved the ball well.
out of the shotgun. Plenty of time for Brees, who steps up and hits his receiver Reggie Bush in the open field and down near the 25-yard line to the 24. A 30-yard completion. And this crowd is groaning about what they perceive as a missed call out on the edge in protection for Brees, with the hands to the face. Brees steps up down the middle. Colston with a catch and a touchdown. In a blink, the Saints go down the field, and Colston has his second of the day.
Well, they just go verticals on that left side, and Drew Brees has so much confidence that he can put the ball wherever he needs to put it to give his guy a chance, that he's willing to take some shots that, quite frankly, a lot of other quarterbacks just aren't willing to do. He had one-on-one with Colston. He gave him a chance up high, and they get the touchdown.
25-yard completion on the touchdown, third of the year for Colston, who is back. A thumb injury last year for Colston, who had just 47 catches after a team record 98 in 2007, and he has started hot here in 09.
Well, the route is he's going to go right up the seam here, and you see he's one-on-one, and the ball's high. And that's where Colston's strength is. A good route runner. He's able to haul the ball in. He's got good hands, but you put it up high to a tall receiver and just give him a chance to make a play. You got Reggie Bush. He's been doing this a little bit more than what he'd probably like here today, but he's done a good job helping out in protection.
It's an old story by now with Colston, with a 252nd pick back in 2006. And outside of that thumb injury, he has been nothing short of spectacular on the outside for Drew Brees. Big target, 6'4", 225 out of Hofstra.
Well, what a luxury Drew Brees has when you drop back and you've got four guys that you feel really good about throwing the football to, and that's why you throw for 5,000 yards, and that's why no one in that group even had 1,000 yards receiving last year, because he's spreading it around. And it really puts the burden then on the defense, because you never know where it's going to go.
This crowd at Lincoln Financial Field was hot about a non-call one play before the touchdown throw to Marcus Colston, which we will show you. This is Ellis Hobbs on the return for Philadelphia, and Hobbs gets it to the 21. 37 seconds left, and we go 2 plays back. And on the left side with the work against Clemens and that hand up to the face.
Well, there's no doubt. You see Clemens coming around the corner, and it looked to me like he had a hand on him. As you can tell, he's got the hand up to the face mask there, and even if you're not going to call hands to the face, I mean, it looks to me like it's a pretty good hold.
That was Stinchcomb, who got away with one. Alberto Riveron, the referee, was looking right at it and didn't call it. Touchdown play followed, and now here is Avant. And the Eagles will spend their final timeout with 30 seconds left. So Philadelphia not willing to lay back and let the halftime scoreboard read 17-10. Andy Reid keeps the pedal down, and with 30 seconds left, the ball is at the Eagles' 47.
The Saints are going to move the football, and they're going to score some points, and so that mindset then has to change for Andy. And first start or not, we've got to get points.
David Akers' career long is 57 yards, which would mean taking it to the 39-yard line. A blitz, Westbrook picks it up, and the pass is behind the intended receiver, Kevin Curtis.
I don't know that people really know what an athlete that Kevin Kolb is. I mean, he's got great athleticism in the pocket and can really move. I mean, I think people generally think of him as being more of a pocket passer, and he can certainly do that, but a heck of an athlete going back to what he did in college. I mean, a lot of that was throwing on the move, and so he's very adept at throwing from various platforms.
2nd and 10. Quick setup and throw to the sideline, and that's Jackson who hops out of bounds for the first down.
A good job by Deshaun Jackson getting what he can and then knowing that they don't have any timeouts and he needs to get out of bounds to stop the clock. I tell you, I've been very impressed with Deshaun Jackson at the end of last season and then what little we've seen up to this point this season. You know, some rookie mistakes last year, putting the ball on the ground prior to crossing the goal line and all, but he has really developed into a heck of a player.
Cobb throws sideline, and the pass is caught. Out of bounds is Curtis, and now the Eagles are definitely inside field goal range for David Akers.
You know, it's a hard quandary for a defense. I mean, you sit there and say, okay, well, we don't want to give up the big play. We can't give up an easy one, so you stay off as a corner, and then you have someone who's being patient, taking the underneath throws and knocking off 5 to 10 yards of completion. Now you're slowly getting into field goal range. You know, my guess is that they're either going to say, okay, we're going to give you the underneath stuff, we're okay with you just getting a field goal, or they're going to challenge it. If they do that, then you take your shot.
I don't know how much more the Eagles want to mess with his field position. The pass is complete. That's Curtis. And now with 9 seconds left, the ball's at the 14-yard line, and you have a chance to take a crack at the end zone.
Great job by Kevin Cobb seeing this. He sees the corner here. Tracy Porter jumps it, thinking that he's going to come to the slot receiver on the out route. That leaves Kevin Curtis all alone along the sideline. That's a hard thing to see for a quarterback and then react to that. Nice job by Kevin Cobb.
So now first down at the New Orleans 14.
And now you just can't take a sack.
Cobb, end zone, and throws it away. Now 3 seconds left, and the Eagles will have to settle for the field goal try. But in his first start, Cobb trying to match Drew Brees, got his team in position to at least take a legitimate shot at a touchdown.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as he's coming over to the sideline, you know, everybody congratulating him on the job that he just did. Not easy to do. To take the ball where he had it, to drive this team down after the defense gave up in 2 plays, a pretty big touchdown prior to the half.
32-yard field goal try by Akers. And Akers ends that drive with 3 points. Of the New Orleans Saints, put up 17 points in the first half. Philadelphia Eagles, under the direction of young Kevin Cobb, put up 13 points, and here's a look what happened the last minute 20 seconds of that first half. Colston a 25-yard touchdown catch, and then David Akers capped a drive. Started with 43 seconds on the clock, the 32-yarder, and here we are, 4-point game at the half, and the Eagles will start with it as Ellis Hobbs waits to return it. First half, the two teams combined for 496 total yards of offense. Hobbs from just inside the 3. Runs into his own man. Weaver lost a football, and the Saints have it. Ellis Hobbs with a fumble ran into his teammate Leonard Weaver, and the ball was recovered by Chris Rice.
I couldn't see exactly who it was that came in behind him, but as soon as he started to go to the outside, you could see that one coming from here. You can see right there when he gets away from that, I couldn't see quite who that was who came in behind, but a good strip.
That was the rookie Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah, that was a heck of a play on his part. That's what you worry about as a returner. Once you get away from some traffic, generally someone's caught up to you from behind.
And then Chris Reese comes away with the fumble recovery, and so now here's Drew Brees, and there's Reggie Bush forced out of bounds by Jordan, and we go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Yeah, Joe, the Eagles wildcatting fools in that first half. Sean Payton says we've worked on that. We just have to do a better job defending theirs. On offense, he said as he walked in, I'm going to be preaching bulb security as well, and he says I want a better balance between the run and the pass. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. And so now the Philadelphia defense backed up near their own end zone, and a chance for the Saints, already leading by 4. Handoff is to Bell, who hits a hole hard, and Bell is down to the 11 with a first down for the Saints.
That's a good job right there by Mike Bell, just moving the pile. It's easy to see, you know, why the Saints like him after the performance he had last week, joining the team at the middle of last season. And, you know, guys, you said a little bit earlier in the first half, Joe, I mean, this is his opportunity, and I think he sees that he needs to make the most of it. And at least here in the early going, he's done just that.
Third trip inside the red zone for the Saints offense. Play action from Breeze, and that's the fullback, Evans. And he is able to stay on his feet for the touchdown. Heath Evans did not step out of bounds, and Evans in his first year with the Saints has given New Orleans 6 more points.
And you'll remember that when you get down around the goal line, the ball has to be inside the pylon. So Heath Evans, knowing that, when he gets to the goal line, you'll see him stretch the ball out and get it inside the pylon for the touchdown. Good effort on his part. Pretty poor tackling by the Eagles.
Andy Reid has the red challenge flag in his hand, and he throws it. And he hits the referee, Riverone, right in the middle of the back. Unintentional, I'm sure, and Riverone turns around smiling.
I'm not so sure.
Well, maybe not.
Philadelphia is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
Andy Reid in his coaching career is 14 of 43 all-time challenging calls on the field by throwing the challenge flag. And the question is right there.
Yeah, it's that angle right there and going to break, and what we had seen without having seen that angle, it looked like it was clearly a touchdown, but that one looks like maybe that foot did in fact hit the
ruling
line.
on the field stands. It is a touchdown. Philadelphia has been charged with a timeout.
So under 33% in challenging calls on the field. Typically, head coaches are waiting to hear from somebody upstairs. In that case, watching Andy Reid, watching it on the replay board here in the stadium, he threw the flag, hit Riverone in the back, and loses the challenge, and this to make it an 11-point lead. Well, the New Orleans Saints take advantage of the Ellis Hobbs fumble. They turn it into 7 quick points, 1:21 seconds into the second half. And now it's up to the Saints defense to try and figure out Cobb and this Eagles offense. Heath Evans with a great acrobatic run and lunge into the end zone has made it 24-13 New Orleans, and Ellis Hobbs will take a knee. So the Eagles will start with it at their 20. Joe and Troy with you in the booth, and I think when you look at New Orleans, they've got all those weapons on the outside. They've got Reggie Bush, now Mike Bell. You throw a fullback in there that can catch passes and do things. I mean, they can get you a lot of different ways.
And they've shown that, and I'm surprised by it, to be quite honest with you, because if there's one team that I believe matches up pretty well against the Saints offensively, it's the Eagles defense. They've got 3 what they feel are starting corners in the league. They got Rogelio Hansen, and they've got a pretty good safety group as well.
Here's Westbrook over the right side. Picks up 4, and we go back to the sequence that led to the 7 points for New Orleans. The fumble forced by Malcolm Jenkins, the first-round pick out of Ohio State. Then the pass, catch, tiptoe, and lunge for the touchdown from Heath Evans.
And I mean, obviously the special teams put the defense in a really tough position, but the defense has got to get off the field without giving up a touchdown. Hard to do. The Saints are always in the top 5 each year with Breeze scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Here's another interception. A turnover, and it belongs to the New Orleans Saints as Shanley comes away with it. Shanley had his first ever interception last week in his NFL career, and now he gets his second as he steps in front of that pass meant for Deshaun Jackson.
You know, it's a quick out route to Jackson, and that's the defender that Cobb has to see. The only guy, you've got Jabari Greer, who was playing off. The only defender that can take that throw away is Scott Shanley. and you've got to see that.
So another chance for the Saints offense, who will come right at the Eagles, and this one is thrown away. Said another interception on the call, meant another turnover back to back, and here's the play and the interception by Cobb.
Well, you see Greer how far off he is, and so as the quarterback, you're always looking at the defense in terms of, okay, who's the one guy that can take this throw away from me? And pre-snap read on that one, it's Scott Shanley. And that was a pretty easy thing for any quarterback, no matter how many starts he's made, to be able to see.
Handoff is to Bell.
Okay, guys, okay, fellas.
Bell runs into Quentin Michael, picks up 6. 3rd down and 4 coming up.
You talked about how important it was on the previous possession for Philadelphia defensively to keep the Saints out of the end zone. Now, I mean, you look at this, and if they're able to hold them to 3, now you keep it a 2-touchdown game. And that's going to be very important. You get down more than that, and you're going to be playing in a tough position here throughout the rest of the second half.
Quick setup and throw, and the pass is complete to Meacham. And Meacham has a 1st down for New Orleans as he gets 10.
Now, this is a little bit like what the Eagles just ran with Kevin Cobb, only it's to the slot receiver, no defender underneath. You got Quentin Michael, who's off in a pretty clean lane, unlike what Kevin Cobb had when he was trying to get it to the outside.
What a chance for the Saints here on the road in Philadelphia, already leading by 11. Handoff is to Bell, who will leap into the end zone for the touchdown. His first of the year, and the Saints pounded right back into the end zone.
Well, all you got to do is follow Heath Evans. You're going to see he kind of leads the way. They start to the left. It's misdirection. Get on his tail. Making it look pretty easy right now.
Heath Evans, who's on his 4th team in 9 seasons, was last with New England, has had a good start to this second half, and the Saints on the road now are threatening. So now Kevin Cobb is in a position where we've been throwing bouquets his way and talking about how well he's played. A special teams turnover, then his first interception of the day. And then Drew Brees just does what Drew Brees does and takes his team into the end zone. It's 31-13.
Yeah, one poor throw. The defense right now has been what's let this team down.
Another chance for Hobbs. Ellis Hobbs, who fumbled to start this second half. Penalty flag down again out to the 25-yard line, and every time there's a special teams play, something isn't working for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think there's been a penalty on almost every return.
Holding number 54. Half the distance of the goal. 1st down. Timeout.
They get Tracy White. Well, what's it going to be for this Philadelphia offense as you look at Michael Vick, who is eligible to play next week? Home game against Kansas City before a bye week. Starting at their own 6. Cobb throws behind Deshaun Jackson, makes a nice catch. He's brought down inches short of the 10.
You know, it's a tough position for any offense to be backed up the way that the Eagles are right now. And you know, I mentioned it, the defense for the Eagles has really let this team down, I think, in the way that they have played, the way the Saints have moved the football against them. But special teams have as well. And I know that was a poor throw on the previous possession by Kevin Cobb, but I tell you, he has not gotten a lot of help from the other units that should be rallying around a young quarterback.
Second down at 6, blitz coming. Cobb throws it downfield for Curtis, incomplete.
It was never set. Half the distance of the goal. 2nd down.
When we went for the game break, a penalty flag was down on the far side of the field, an illegal formation. We've seen plenty of different formations from the Eagles. in this game, and after initially Alberto Riveron saying the penalty was accepted, now the Saints decline it. Why wouldn't they? It brings up 3rd and 6 with the ball at the 10. $18-point game and a 3rd down for Kevin Kolb. And the pass is knocked into the air off the leg of Westbrook, incomplete. And the crowd, which has been awfully quiet, now gets loud as they boo the offense and the Eagles on their way off the field.
Yeah, you're going to see Westbrook here. He's going to be on a slant route. It's too deep, man coverage. So Jonathan Vilma is in man coverage on Brian Westbrook. You see the separation, and if he's able to get the ball out in front and make a good throw, Brian Westbrook was going to be running for a little ways. He's just been off just enough on a few of these throws here as of late.
So now 4th down and 6. Sam Rocca punts it. It's a good one. Real good one, sending Reggie Bush back inside the 30. Going backward. Outruns Gokong for a moment, but can't get around Akeem Jordan. 25th time in his career, 17th time with the Saints that he's had 3 or more touchdown passes in the same game. Had 6 last week. Starting at their own 23, Breeze setting up a screen, and the first look at Pierre Thomas, who makes the catch and loses 4 yards.
Well, this is an important drive right here for this Eagles defensively, but looking at New Orleans offensively and what they've done, you know, the key to it has been they've kept Drew Brees upright. And it surprised me a little bit. As I said earlier in the game, I really didn't think the offensive line played great last week against the Detroit Lions, but they have done a masterful job here today. You take a look, 2 sacks and only 2 knockdowns against this defensive group is awfully impressive.
Handoff is to Mike Bell. Bell picks up 3. It'll be 3rd and long for this Saints offense. You can start to make a case that Drew Brees, with the numbers he's put up, is one of the best free agent signings any team has made. When you look at the numbers and what he has meant to this franchise and the way they've started this season trying to get a win on the road, they're going to be tough to beat this year. 3rd down and 11. A blitz, Saints pick it up. Passes downfield and caught by Devery Henderson. What a throw, and what a better catch by Henderson. 36 yards.
Unbelievable. I mean, they finally are able to get Drew Brees on his heels, and perfect coverage by Sheldon Brown. I mean, the only place that this ball could be thrown is where it was. You see the pressure on Brees. He's got to unload it. He's got to throw the perfect pass off balance, and they make the completion.
So a first down on 3rd and long, and now Mike Bell right up the middle picks up 3.
I tell you, that's got to be about as demoralizing a thing as can happen to a defense. I mean, Sean McDermott has got to be wondering, what do I have to do? I mean, he's trying to mix coverages up. He's trying to mix the blitzes up. You know, last week that stuff worked pretty well. Now, this week you're not going against, you know, a team that had been struggling offensively. You're going against Drew Brees, and I tell you, that's as good as it gets right there under pressure.
2nd down and 7. Brees rolls right, throws downfield, and completes to Marcus Colston. They're so diverse and can come at you so many different ways, and all these receivers almost become interchangeable for Brees.
They really do. I mean, they know exactly what they want to do with each guy that they have, and a lot of talk, obviously, about Drew Brees because he's the guy who has to orchestrate it all. But I'll tell you, Sean Payton is part of that equation as well. I mean, he's the guy that's dialing these things up from over on the sidelines.
Here's Bell. Over the right side, picks up 2.
I mean, you don't see too many offenses go through an Eagles defense like what we've seen here today.
So now you look ahead as you peek at the Saints offensive leaders, and for New Orleans, they're next at Buffalo, at home against the Jets, then a bye week, and then at home against the Giants at Miami. How good is the start going to be this season for Sean Payton, whose team finished 8-8 a year ago? And off to Bell to the 20. Now, this was a team, New Orleans, it was 2-6 away from home last year. They had a number of heartbreaking defeats, were not good in close games. Reason why the defensive coordinator, Gary Gibbs, was fired and Greg Williams was brought in. But Kevin Cobb's first start or not, they are making a statement on the road here today in Philadelphia, as you've said, Troy, against this Eagles defense. Breeze underneath, it's Colston. Colston has a first down for the Saints and won't go down. Markham inside the 10 to the 8, a 12-yard completion.
And Jermon Bushrod is playing for the Pro Bowl left tackle Jamal Brown, and he's done a good job on Trent Cole. We talked about it earlier and how Sean Payton said we can't let Trent Cole control this game. And he hasn't always been lined up on that side, but when he has, we haven't been calling his name. Overall, this offense has done a good job of controlling a guy who, quite frankly, doesn't get controlled very often.
First and goal. That's Bell. Bell gets a yard. Second down and goal. When you look at the NFC South, Atlanta would be the main competition in my mind in that division with the New Orleans Saints. Carolina did not look good last week. Tampa Bay, first-year head coach, fired their offensive coordinator in the week leading up to the opening game. A good battle between the Saints and the Falcons. Breeze over the middle, incomplete, looking for Shockey. And it's third and goal.
So you think about all the looks that Philadelphia can give you and the problems that they can present. And I thought it was interesting in talking with Sean Payton, and he said, you know, Drew Brees is just able to calm the group down. You know, and we saw that a couple plays ago on some of the protection calls that he makes. He's able to sort through it. And this guy studies the game so much that he's able to make up for a lot of other areas and just putting people in good positions with a chance to have success.
Out of the backfield, passes behind Reggie Bush. And it's fourth down. Field goal unit will come on for New Orleans.
Yeah, that's the one play that hasn't worked for New Orleans today. We've seen that now a couple of times, trying to throw the swing out to Reggie Bush, and Drew's thrown it out there, but Reggie's never been ready for it.
So 25-yard try now from Carney, who was a Pro Bowler last year. His second go-around with the Saints. Last year was the Pro Bowl kicker for the New York Giants. And it wasn't pretty, but it got through. 45-year-old John Carney. Divisional series, and who's going to be in that ALCS? Right now you've got the Angels, you've got the Yankees, you've got the Red Sox.
How about my Padres? Are they in the wild card mix?
No. I know they will not be playing in the ALCS, and your Padres are kind of done for 09, maybe a little while. Ellis Hobbs on the return. Who's going to win that American League Central? How about Ellis Hobbs on the return with a little shot in the arm for Philadelphia? Hobbs celebrates as he gets up after a 63-yard kick return to try and get this Eagles team jump-started somehow.
They finally had something positive happen in the return game. Ellis Hobbs had the fumble earlier, and then to be able to get this one out and give them some field to work with, exactly what they needed, because right now they need some quick scores. Like right now, they just need a score.
Down by 21. Fake the handoff, and the pass after a little rollout to Deshaun Jackson. I mean, we're seeing the creative side of Andy Reid and Marty Mornhinweg as they have opened up this offense. It's like we're watching, you know, Boise State.
Yeah, well, or you know, Kevin Cobb in college. I mean, this is kind of what he did. You know, I mean, it looks unconventional, but yet I think there's some level of comfort for him in being able to throw the ball like this. I mean, he does the play action, and then he's rolling to the left and still is able to make the throw, all of it being designed.
And now back to the Wildcat formation. Handoff inside to Westbrook.
Okay, fellas.
Handed to him by Deshaun Jackson. And Westbrook picks up 2.
You know, I just get the feeling with this Wildcat that we've seen so far, the fact that they're still running it right now, and they're down 21 points, that there's something more that we haven't seen. I mean, there's something that's gonna show itself here in this ball game, I believe, that's different from what we've seen out of that Wildcat, and a chance for a big play.
Second and 8. Cobb throws off his back foot and just threw it away. And no penalty flag as some of the Saints look at Alberto Riverone. Cobb just got rid of it. Did what you talked about earlier, didn't try to force it. Now it's 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see is, you know, Deshaun Jackson, for instance, was down that sideline and saw that Cobb was under a little pressure. You know, work back to him. You know, give Kevin Cobb a chance to get the ball to you, but continuing to run in your routes when he's getting flushed out is not what the quarterback wants.
Third down and 8. Cobb steps up and slings it, caught for a first down by Avant. One of the better throws by Cobb, and Avant was there up to get it. 13 yards and a first down.
Crossing route there on the backside, and you're going to see Kevin Cobb has time to let those receivers get down the field. He had his pick. He takes Avant, and he has to fit that one in there in a tight space. So see, it has to be between 2 of the defenders in the zone, and a nice throw and catch.
On 1st and goal, it's Westbrook. That play, the only time that really worked was out of the Wildcat. So the middle of the field just opened up, and Westbrook with no gain, 2nd and goal from the 5.
Yeah, everything else that they've tried to do inside with the running game has gotten pretty much bottled up, and just not much there. The Saints have kind of figured this one out, saying, okay, we're going to clog the inside, and then if they're going to get anything out of the running game, they're going to have to get to the sideline, and the Saints feel that they have the lateral speed in order to keep that from being much of a gain too.
Wildcat. They fake the handoff with Westbrook. He dumps it forward and incomplete for Weaver, the fullback. It was there, the throw a little high, and Leonard Weaver couldn't make the catch.
That's kind of been the story for Philadelphia throughout this game, and you know, whether it's been a play like this or with Kevin Cobb on some other opportunities, I mean, they're just a fraction off. This was a pretty easy touchdown, or should have been. Of course, you're asking a guy in Westbrook who's not a quarterback to make a better throw, but you're right, he was open, and it would have been a touchdown had he been able to get the ball to him.
So now 3rd and goal. A little flip. That's McCoy, the rookie, and he's brought down shy of the end zone. Well played by Jabari Greer, and he had help with him with Vilma.
Yeah, and you see Andy, and I mean, it's obvious they ran the ball there because they're in 4-down territory, and he's saying we've got to come away with a touchdown. But a lot of It's not gimmicks. I mean, they've been working on these things, but a lot of things that just aren't really a part of what Philadelphia football offensively has meant to us over the years. And you think you'd line them up. They've got a fullback they really like, put them in tailback, Brian Westbrook, and run off tackle with some things and just let this offensive line mash some people.
They roll Cobb out again. He's in trouble, throws, and Avant. Touchdown. On 4th and goal.
This one here was close. Did he get his hands underneath the ball? And it sure looked like he did.
The two officials looked at each other, didn't initially give a call, and then said, okay, touchdown. It looked like he had it.
Yeah, not an easy catch for Jason Avant. You see he's slipping on the back line, trying to work back to the ball to make the catch. What a great effort.
And now a challenge by Sean Payton.
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchdown.
We have not seen a replay yet. It shows that the ball hit the ground and was trapped by Avant. Sean Payton wants to look at it because with this touchdown, the Eagles are back in the ball game, down by, if the extra point is good, 14 points. And here's another look, and sure looks like his hands are underneath the football.
Yeah, and I think it's a good challenge though by Sean Payton, because if they, clearly this is an important play in this ball game. If they're able to score here and cut it to 14, now this fourth quarter becomes something, of a ball game, to where as if this is not a touchdown, you're up 21, the Saints get the ball and able to take more time off the clock. It's going to be awfully difficult then in just the fourth quarter to make a comeback. So, did he see anything where he thought it was not a touchdown? Probably not, but it was close enough that, hey, let's roll the dice.
Well, I don't think we've seen anything that would overturn the call. It's got to be conclusive evidence to show that that ball was trapped and not caught. At this point, I think the touchdown stands. And again, that was on 4th and goal. So the difference between a touchdown or taking over possession inside your own 5-yard line up by 21.
And you go back to how that drive was set up, and it was set up by the return game of Ellis Hobbs. And as we said, I think every other return they had was met with a penalty. So they were playing in a deficit, trying to go down the field, and at a time when they desperately needed to get a touchdown to get back in this, they finally get something out of the return game that sets it up.
Avant with a big 3rd down catch to set up 1st and goal, and then gets it on 4th and goal with his feet sliding out from under him, making the catch on his way to the ground. So Riverone has seen enough, and we'll get the call.
The receiver, 2 hands under the ball and controls it. Therefore, it is a touchdown. The ruling on the field is confirmed.
New Orleans loses a timeout. They're down to 2, as are the Eagles. So Kevin Cobb with 2 touchdown passes in this game.
See Sean already looking at that offensive play sheet, figuring out what he's going to do on the next possession.
And it's a 14-point game. Ellis Hobbs at the beginning of this second half did this, which set up a Saints touchdown. But in his last effort, a 63-yard return set up that last drive, and Ellis Hobbs is the one who put the Eagles in the initial position to get something done.
Well, now the Eagles defensively are going to need to do something that that they haven't done yet today, and that is make a pretty critical stop. I mean, time certainly, there's enough of it as they move into this fourth quarter, but they can't allow the Saints to move down the field and take 7, 8, 9 minutes off the clock as they have at times in this game.
That responsibility falls on this Eagles defense and on their first-year defensive coordinator, Sean McDermott. Courtney Roby will return it for the Saints. From about a yard deep. And a decent return out across the 25.
I know in talking with Sean McDermott the other day, I asked him, are there times when you kind of take a step back and ask the question, what would Jim do? Meaning, what would Jim Johnson do? Here's a guy who worked under him from so many years. I've got to believe that Sean's asking himself some of those questions right now.
Breeze pulls it back, throws to Evans, and that pass is caught and fumbled. That's the ruling right now. And the Eagles have taken over.
Well, I don't know. To me, looked like it was an incompletion. I never saw possession. And now Sean's going to be forced to make another challenge. Here's a look at it. You see Heath Evans, and does he have possession of the ball right there? Was it moving in his hands? And
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field of a completion.
So this will be the last challenge by New Orleans. They missed on their last effort. I think they'll win this challenge.
In real time, Joe, it never looked to me like he caught the ball.
Does he secure it? The ball still being bobbled. I don't think he ever really has it.
Yeah, that's a great look right there, that the ball was moving the entire time and he never actually possessed it.
It was a hit made by Macho Harris, the rookie free safety. Gaither eventually recovered it. But in regular speed, I don't think there's any way you look at that and say that ball was secured, caught, an element of time, or however they describe it now in the NFL. Can he make another football act? They've taken that out of the language. They say there's got to be a certain element of time, which is ambiguous at best.
They describe it a lot of different ways, but however it's described, I don't think that it's going to fall into that. I agree. I think it's an incomplete pass.
So the last three plays, the Saints have challenged two of them. Peyton is 0 for 1 to this point, but I think he'll win this one. So Riverone continues to look at it. With 14 seconds left in this third quarter, the pass is incomplete. It'll be second down and 10 for the Saints. Evans has been busy in the second half. Lead blocker on a touchdown run by Mike Bell. Caught a pass and ran it in for a touchdown. And finally, Alberto Riverone is out from under the hood.
The receiver never controlled the ball. Therefore, it's an incomplete pass. New Orleans will not be charged with a timeout. They will retain the ball, second and 10 at the 27-yard line. Please reset the clock to show 18 seconds.
So 18 seconds left in the quarter, second and 10, and Drew Brees gets to stay out on the field.
Yeah, and more than likely, Sean Payton, he's probably upset with the fact that he even had to challenge that one, I mean, and sometimes that comes into play as well. Now he has no challenges left in what could turn out to be an awfully tight game.
Yeah, you have an entire quarter to go, and Sean Payton is out of challenges. That's Bell. Plays made by Patterson. Just 1 yard, and that will take us to the end of the third quarter here in Philadelphia. So the Eagles just got back in it, down by 14 points, and that'll do it for the third quarter. Well, now it's third down for New Orleans as we begin the final quarter here in Philadelphia. 15 minutes left. Saints up 14. Breeze steps up, hits, and flipped short of first down yardage is the tight end David Thomas. And that'll force fourth down. And bring the punt team onto the field for the Saints.
Tell you what, a great tackle here by Asante Samuel in the open field. I mean, he had to get him on the ground in a hurry, otherwise Thomas picks up the first down, and he goes low, and not easy to do, but a great job and a good job by Philadelphia holding him short.
I don't know why the punt team's not out there for the Saints. Everybody's huddled up on the sideline. The play clock is down to 2.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Fourth down.
So instead of using another timeout, Sean Payton is willing to take the 5-yard penalty. It's fourth down, and now it's Deshaun Jackson, who had an 85-yard punt return for a touchdown last week. Second longest in franchise history. Getting a chance to do something with his legs. Good punt by Morstead. And what a good play downfield. That's the rookie again. He's already forced one fumble. And Malcolm Jenkins makes the play. One of just a few rookies on this entire roster for the New Orleans Saints. Second oldest roster in the NFL to the Redskins. Malcolm Jenkins has made 2 good special teams plays, including that tackle of Deshaun Jackson. Starting at their own 25, start on the ground, and they start with a 1-yard run by Westbrook and back to Jenkins.
Yeah, a lot of ways to contribute, and it's not always on offense and defense. And Malcolm Jenkins is the gunner. He splits the double team, does a good job there, and is able to then make the tackle on Deshaun Jackson. You mentioned the forced fumble that he had earlier. Really an excellent job by the rookie.
A rookie who was drafted as a corner, but who his defensive coordinator Greg Williams believes will someday make a great free safety. Second and 9. Cobb's in trouble and throws in the direction of Westbrook. Well, we'll read through those lines. Thank you, Kurt. A delayed one if he did it. It's third and 9. Another blitz. Cobb throws for Curtis, and Curtis was tangled up with Porter. And it's fourth down, 3 and out.
Yeah, he got the one-on-one matchup he was hoping for. He got protection, and Kevin Curtis is really playing a little banged up. He's got a bad knee. It's affected him, and he's still able to get some separation. But this is a guy with unbelievable quickness that is having to nurse that during the week, and obvious there that he is just not quite at full strength.
Fifth punt from Rocca. This one isn't as pretty as the others, or as long. And a frustrated crowd in the home opener for the Eagles booing Sav Rocca. 34-20. A lot of action in this game, a lot of yards, and the Saints, who have Drew Brees over 300 yards passing for the 15th time in his last 22 games. Gets under center, up 14. And hands off. The handoff is to Mike Bell. And you can see why they like him. He hits the hole hard. He's lost some weight. He's a lot quicker than he has been the last 2 years, and he picks up 16 yards.
Well, and this is an area where the Saints have struggled in previous years, and they bring in the third tackle, Zach Strief, number 64. He comes in as a tight end in certain running situations when they want to pound the ball, and he just collapses that side of the line, and then Mike Bell has a nice lane to run in. And you know, so much of them having to rely on the short game passing in these types of situations to take time off the clock. Pretty good run.
Here's Bell again, right up the middle. Fights his way for 4 yards. Mentioned Breeze over 300 yards. He's thrown to 9 different receivers today, and Bell is slow to get up and can't get up. And Westbrook has his right shoe off. But Bell, who has Pierre Thomas playing behind him, has been bothered by a sprained knee. Mike Bell still in some pain as he limps over to the bench. And it's second down for the Saints. Handoff is to Reggie Bush. Cuts upfield, gets hit twice, and is banged down with a first down. Asante Samuel on the tackle, 6 yards and a first down for the Saints. And now Samuel is down and injured after that hit.
You can see Reggie Bush when he goes up in the air, and Asante Samuel comes in and leads, you know, with his helmet. Hard to tell exactly where he got injured, but it was somewhere along trying to make that tackle.
So now the training staff looks at Samuel. Able to move his hands and checking for feeling in his arms while he lays face down on the field. So being ultra cautious after that hit, but now able to get up is Samuel, so that's good news. All right, Kurt, thanks. Raiders with the football in that game at their own 45 for the first down, down by 4. Here the Saints have it inside field goal range, and Reggie Bush runs into Omar Gaither. A gain of 1. Under 11 to play, and New Orleans leading by 14 points.
I'll tell you, this has been impressive to me, watching the New Orleans Saints just run the ball the way that they have and pick up a couple first downs and taking time off the clock. I mean, I tell you, they're an awfully good offense, as we've talked about, but if they get this element of their game working to where they can take people and close games by running the football, I mean, that's an element that they just have not had in recent years.
Fake the handoff, and underneath it's Evans. The fullback, Heath Evans, gets it down inside the 20 to the 19. Hakeem Jordan on the stop, a gain of 5 as the clock continues to run.
I don't know how you can't come out of this game and not be impressed with Drew Brees. You know, I mean, it's talked about each week, the job that he does. I don't know that I can shine any more light on it than anyone else has, but I do know that when you ask people about the top quarterbacks in the league, for whatever reason, a lot of times, too often than it should be, his name's not mentioned. And he has been nothing short of phenomenal since coming here to New Orleans.
It's third down and 4, and they go straight ahead with Reggie Bush, and he's gone. Touchdown New Orleans to put a cap on this. As they add to their lead, they can get it back to a 21-point game.
Well, that's pretty indicative of the way that this defense has played throughout the day. You know, they just have not played to the level that we're used to seeing, and at a moment in the game when all the New Orleans Saints is doing is basically running the ball or a quick passing game to take time off the clock, and the Eagles not able to shut it down. It's pretty bad.
25th career touchdown for Reggie Bush. And this one, Reggie Bush getting congratulations on the sideline, now getting a hug from his head coach. This has been an impressive effort And back-to-back 40-point games for this New Orleans Saints team to open the season. Ellis Hobbs waiting for the kick. He's had one fumble, had one good long 63-yard return, and this one he can't make it back to the 20.
I'm looking forward to watching that.
As am I.
I really am. I don't know if you are. That didn't sound very convincing.
I am. It's first down, and it's a pass caught by Avant. Let's go down to the field and Pam Olive.
Well, Joe, while we wait for word on those string of injuries, defensive coordinator Greg Williams told his Saints defensive unit how he wants to finish this game. He indicated he wants discipline and good tackling. He also stressed he wants to see Kevin Kolb punished.
Well, we'll see. As Kolb drops back, Saints know what he's going to do, drop back and throw it. Westbrook is brought down on a good tackle by Jabari Greer, a gain of 5.
And the other thing I'm sure he told him was not to get beat deep. And so we've got two safeties. They're running a 2-deep coverage, and they are out of there, not letting anybody get in behind them. You see those safeties back here.
Kolb throws down the middle for Selleck. A nice catch as he turned around to grab it. Was behind him in the completion for 25 yards.
And that's the area really that if you're going to attack this defense based on what New Orleans is doing, and really that's the way that it's been throughout much of this second half, is you've got to get somebody into the middle of the field to stretch it.
Free play, it appears, as the handoff is underneath to McCoy. And LaShawn McCoy picks up 11. Will Smith came across.
Number 91. Penalty is declined. Result of play is a first down.
Troy, you know the nature of this league way better, certainly, than I do. But when the story's written about this game tomorrow, you wonder how it's going to be reported as to how Kevin Kolb played in his first career NFL start. I will tell you that I know he threw that one interception. But other than that, I will come away impressed with him. As he hits his receiver wide open as Kevin Curtis wrestled down at the 20.
Well, I'll tell you this, that yeah, he missed some throws. He threw the ill-advised throw that got intercepted. In my opinion, Kevin Kolb played better than most of the guys that are wearing green on this field today. I mean, he did not get much help from a lot of people who you would have expected to have helped him here in his first start.
Kolb is drilled from behind, and on his back is Bobby McCray.
Well, Bobby McCray, that's what he does. He's a pass rushing specialist, a very versatile player, and he comes off the backside. And you've got Kolb, who's trying to get something down the field. He's going to hang in there as long as he can, and this isn't a time to be worried about getting sacked.
Kolb throws off his back foot, hits Selleck. Selleck wrestled down by Shanley. 4.5 yards shy of a first down. Again, more pressure from Bobby McCray on that throw.
Yeah, Bobby McCray put another big hit on Kevin Kolb. And, you know, I've been impressed that he has hung in the pocket. You always worry about that with a young guy. Is he going to hang in there and deliver the football when he knows he's going to get hit in the chin? And Kolb has done that.
Handoff, inside handoff, good for a first down to LaShawn McCoy. Second round pick out of Pitt. Sets up first and goal. Coming up on 6 minutes left. Kolb rolls out and throws out of the reach of Avant. A lot of movement to this offense. Very rarely was Kolb a stationary target back there.
Yeah, they did a lot of different things, and to what maybe Donovan McNabb might be thinking in light of all the things that they showed here today.
They fake a toss, and now Kolb throws to McCoy. He's to the 5, third and goal. Shanley on the stop.
I do think, Joe, though, you got to give a lot of credit to this Saints defense, more so in the second half. and the job that they've done. I mean, this is a big test for them, for the entire organization, a big game, a lot of expectations coming into today. They had a nice win last week, and you know, how are they going to respond playing on the road? Something they didn't do real well last year, and they've done a good job.
Cobb backpedaling as he throws, and it's 4th down. Will Smith and Vilma with pressure in the face of Kevin Cobb. 4th and goal. Donovan McNabb with the fractured rib on his left side. Eagles will host Kansas City. Kansas City now trailing, by the way, at home to Oakland 13-10 with a minute left there. They host the Chiefs next week and then have a bye week. And after that, McNabb would basically have 4 weeks to heal that broken rib. And next week it will be the first game for Michael Vick since December 31st of 2006. No penalty flag. A lot of movement. Now a flag comes in late. And Avant makes the catch, doesn't get there, and it's a false start. It's a false start. It looked like Winston Justice moved early.
Illegal formation. Offense. Penalty is refused. New Orleans will take over on downs. First down.
So they call an illegal formation, but Winston Justice committed a false start, and the officiating crew just missed it.
Yeah, I talked about Greg Williams a little bit earlier, and when he was leaving Jacksonville last year, he had an opportunity to really go to a lot of the places where they were looking for a defensive coordinator, and it came down to Tennessee and New Orleans. And the reason that he ultimately chose the Saints as opposed to Tennessee is because the Saints were willing to hire his son, Blake. Blake Williams is also a young coach, and Tennessee was not. And he decided to come to New Orleans because of that.
So now false start on New Orleans.
Start, number 85, offense, half the distance of the goal, first down.
The Eagles turned it over on downs as the Saints declined that penalty. And now David Thomas guilty of a false start.
Some people may remember that Greg Williams was a defensive coordinator there in Tennessee under Jeff Fisher for a long time, and he and Jeff Fisher are very close friends. So that was not an easy decision to make, but he was excited about continuing to work with his young son.
Hand off to Reggie Bush, who just gets out of the end zone as Sheldon Brown squeezes down and makes the tackle.
I think when you start talking about the Eagles, quarterback situation, it'll be interesting to me to see who it is that starts next week for Philadelphia. I mean, will Andy Reid evaluate Kevin Cobb's performance the way that we did and keep him in the lineup, or will he say that, I think Jeff Garcia, a guy who's been through a camp with Oakland, he's played, he's started a number of games as early as last year, and he's prepared to play. It's not like he's got rust that he's got to work off.
Second down and 12, and Reggie Bush back to the line of scrimmage again. Jeff Garcia, who was 5-1 as an Eagle, as Philadelphia takes a timeout. Down the stretch in 2006, Donovan was out with a torn ACL. Is back, just signed this week. Look at the upcoming games. There's Kansas City, the bye week, then home against Tampa, at Oakland, at Washington. That's a pretty favorable early schedule for this Eagles team, who appear to be off to a 1-1 start.
Yeah, and speaking of Jeff Garcia, I mean, a guy who I've had immense respect for, watching him play and the way he's handled himself. He's done a heck of a job in San Francisco and Tampa Bay, and the place where he's probably respected and appreciated the most, right here in Philadelphia.
Handoff is to Bush, and he got out of the end zone and is brought down inside the 1 by Akeem Jordan. And I mean just got out. It's 4th down.
It must have been just out, because from where I am, it didn't look like he made it. It looked like he got stopped short of getting across the goal line, but the official right there at the line of scrimmage, able to look at it and see. Apparently he got across just by enough.
Now Jeremy Maclin is waiting deep for the punt. And a timeout is taken by New Orleans. See that play again.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this angle because we're not able to look right down the line, but you can get a pretty good idea. It looked like maybe right there he did get the ball across.
I think forward progress, when it was stopped, he had broken the plane of the end zone going the other way. And Jets just did beat the New England Patriots, so all that trash talking by Rex Ryan, first-year head coach with the Jets, and leaving a phone message on season ticket holders' phones, that getting out. Look at that, 16-9 they beat New England, and the Jets are 2-0 behind the rookie Sanchez.
I think the AFC East anyway is getting ready to get pretty exciting with Coach Ryan in the mix. You know, looking at New England the other night, they look like they're starting to get a little old.
Looks like they'll take a safety as they have Breeze in the game, and they do. So instead of punting out of the back of the end zone, Sean Payton called timeout, sent his offense back out there, and Breeze just ran out of the back of the end zone. It's a safety, 2 points, and then the free kick coming back to Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think it was a good call. You know, it's still a 3-possession game. Rather than take a chance on maybe it getting blocked or not getting off a good punt and given great field position, now at least you're able to, you know, you give up the 2 points, but you're able to regroup and get the ball off, and now get your defense out there and let them play.
Sean Payton in his 4th year, former Philadelphia Eagles assistant coach. It's back 97-98. Then he went to the Giants 99 through 2002. In his first year as offensive coordinator, calling the plays, Giants went to the Super Bowl. In Dallas, finished his time under Bill Parcells calling plays there, 03 through 2005, and came to the Saints in 2006. A 10-6 record and a trip to the NFC Championship game where they lost to the Chicago Bears.
And I think Sean Payton would tell you the experience that helped him the most and prepared him the best to go on and become a head coach was the few years that he spent there under Bill Parcells, and really getting a chance to see one of the really greats conduct practice, meetings, personnel, and Sean has stepped in and done a nice job in New Orleans.
This is Jeremy Maclin on the return, the rookie. First round pick out of Missouri, and there is nowhere for him to go. Well played downfield. Prelo is down there along with Jolon Dunbar, and we go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Hey there, Joe. A little bit of word on some of the injured players. Brian Westbrook went in for a play but quickly came out hobbling. Westbrook really favoring that right ankle. That's the one they've been treating using some kind of vibrating contraption, something I've never seen before. Meanwhile, Asante Samuel, he is said to have a stinger. We learned about that. Saints running back Mike Bell has a knee injury.
You've been busy down there with everybody that's been helped off the field so far in this second half. And here's Cobb again. Underneath, it's the rookie McCoy. And LaShawn picks up 8. You know, you look ahead to next week, Troy, you're going to have Vic activated. You're still going to have the opportunity or a chance to have McNabb play in the game. Then you have Cobb and Garcia. Any one of 4 guys could get the start at quarterback next week.
Well, I don't think they would keep 4 if they're all up.
Here is Cobb throwing it away as he was pressured again, and it's 3rd and 2 now for the Eagles. Handoff is to McCoy, who plows ahead for a first down.
But I think right now, Joe, as far as that quarterback situation goes, if it looks like McNabb's going to be able to play, then it sounded like Jeff Garcia's time would be over. And you know, and then obviously McNabb's the starter. That then becomes pretty clear. To me, the confusion becomes, or the big question becomes, if he can't play.
Here's a little flip forward to McCoy. The rookie out of Pitt down to the 41-yard line with another first down, 19-yard catch and run.
And to kind of go back to what we have said, you know, I think Kevin Cobb has played well enough to warrant another start if McNabb's not able to play. I think he, all things considered, has done a pretty good job.
I agree. And he adds to his numbers. I mean, Cobb, Troy, has thrown for over 300 yards. That one's good for 25. He's right around 350 yards through the air with a couple of touchdown passes and 1 pick. If you look at the game summary, stats in a way can kind of lie in this game. The Eagles have actually outgained New Orleans 426 yards to 422. Another 300-yard day for Drew Brees, and Kevin Cobb adds to his numbers as he finds his roommate Brent Selleck. The tight end brought down by Shanley under 2 minutes to play. It was a 9-yard completion. 359-yard day for Cobb. Handoff, that didn't work. McCoy was brought down by Anthony Hargrove, who's getting a 3rd chance in the NFL, this time with the Saints, after making mistakes in St. Louis and then Buffalo.
Yeah, Greg Williams, I thought, paid Anthony Hargrove the ultimate compliment when he compared him with Leroy Glover. And Saints fans know all about how good Leroy Glover was.
Here's an interception by Cobb, his 2nd of the day. And who else? Darren Sharper still going. Cobb is the only guy who can bring him down. And he cannot. Darren Sharper with career interception number 57. The active leader and more points for the Saints. That's his 9th interception for a touchdown in his career. And his 57 interceptions lead all active players.
You get down here in the red zone and things tighten up. And that's another learning experience for Kevin Cobb. And Darren Sharper just sitting down. Wasn't being threatened down the field because of where they were on the field in the end line. And just came underneath the ball, or came underneath the route.
Now to make it 48-22, it's Carney. Under a minute to play.
Darren Sharper right here playing safety, but because he doesn't have to worry about anybody going by him because of where they are on the field, he's able to just sit on Brent Selleck there and jump it. And things happen a lot quicker down there for the quarterback than what they do when you're out in the middle of the field.
Winston Justice couldn't bring him down. Kevin Cobb couldn't catch him, and so Darren Sharper gets his 9th career interception return for a touchdown. And that tandem of Harper and Sharper, the 2 safeties for the Saints, all the way down the field, and Kevin Cobb gets to pick turf out of his face mask after giving all he had, trying to avoid the touchdown. So for Cobb to go with all those yards, 359, he's got 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and Darren Sharper has 3 interceptions in his first year after 2 games with his new team.
He had 1 all of last year, and he's off to a heck of a start here in 09.
Started with a packed house in the home opener here for the Philadelphia Eagles, and there are few left. Ellis Hobbs waiting for it. And Hobbs spins his way to the 25. So the New Orleans Saints will leave here, head home, prepare for a week where they will travel to Buffalo, and they have the Jets in New Orleans, then the bye week. And the Saints today become the first team since the 0-1 Colts to score 40 or more points the first 2 games of the season. 45 last week, 3 better today.
See Kevin Cobb there, a shirt untucked, and signs of a long day.
Here's Selleck, and Brent Selleck hangs on to the football and has a nice run after the catch. 21-yard play.
You know, I think in fairness to Greg Williams and this defense for New Orleans, you know, a lot of these yards here in the second half coming when they're just playing more of a prevent, trying not to give up big pass plays.
Cobb is hit as he let it go. Pass incomplete, and there's Bobby McCray. Jeff Charleston ended up on top of the football, but the pass is incomplete. Now 16 seconds left. And second down and 10.
You see Brian Westbrook there. Pam talked about the injury that he's had, and you know, he missed most of preseason, all the preseason games practice, but you know, that's been an ongoing deal with him for several years now, and every week wondering if he's going to be able to go and how effective he'll be.
Underneath it's Selling, and that should do it. And no, it won't do it because Philadelphia calls a timeout. Wow. We showed you the Philadelphia Eagles upcoming schedule. There's the Saints upcoming schedule. And certainly not as appetizing as the Philadelphia Eagles have in the upcoming weeks. At Buffalo, the Jets at home, a bye week, the Giants, and then at Miami.
Well, teams are beginning to separate themselves. I mean, here we are just now finishing up the second week, but we're able to now look around the league a little bit with a little bit clearer picture as to what teams are. The Jets, as you said, the upset win over the Patriots, you know, that game's a little different than what it looked like coming into the year.
Cobb gets hit as he throws it, and because of the timeout, he gets an interception tacked onto his record. His third of the day, this one in the arms of Tracy Porter. And that's how this game ends. So Andy Reid called the timeout.